Hello and welcome to Chabot News for May 23, 2024. My name is Diana Osaulenko and today we will be covering a shortage of air traffic controllers, California's latest attempt to cut down on illegal sideshows, and a deaf man's dream come true as he is cast as a prince in My Fair Lady. In entertainment news, Allan will tell you about the new planet of the Apes movie now in theaters. And finally, in sports news, Christian gives us the latest on Tom Brady's upcoming broadcast debut as a commentator. All that and more coming up in today's edition of Chabot News. The Federal Aviation Administration has hundreds of employment opportunities for those looking for a place to pick up a paycheck. According to the latest numbers from FAA, roughly 3,000 more air traffic controllers are needed with next few months. The AFA currently has more than 11,000 employees who are fully certified or are at the stage where they are allowed to work independently. Staffing plans from the FAA and the union that backs air traffic controllers say about 14,600 controllers are needed for the nation's airports. The FAA hopes to hire at least 1,800 new controllers by September. Shocking footage captures the chaos of a dramatic crash caught on camera in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. As the wreckage unfolds, watch as the driver flees the scene while brave good Samaritans rush to aid the injured passenger. Stay tuned as KCTH reporter Hamza Buja covers this tragic event.
In Milwaukee, a hit-and-run crash shook the community over the weekend. A stolen car slams into a parked minivan, injuring a passenger who is now in custody along with another person inside of the car. However, the driver was able to flee the scene and they are still working on finding out his whereabouts. Police say the stolen car was filled with teenagers. The Wisconsin Policy Forum shows that Wisconsin residents' main worries were already stolen vehicles and reckless driving. The community wants change, and so does the mayor of Milwaukee.
The passenger in that video that you just showed me, he couldn't even get up. He couldn't even move. He tried to get out of the car. He collapsed. You don't want that to be your kid or some kid that that you care about. Let's have these conversations and let's put a stop to this.
Thankfully, there were no pedestrians that were hurt in this car crash, and the police are still trying to find the driver that fled the scene.
Thanks, Hamza. The news crew was at the site of the crash because it was reporting on a shooting at the same intersection that killed two teenagers. Social media apps have taken a lot of blame over the years for spreading misinformation, especially when it comes to politics. So the findings of a new study may surprise you. Researchers at Stanford University and other institutions work with Meta. They found that a majority of the 35,000 participants who stayed off of Facebook and Instagram for 6 weeks before the 2020 presidential election didn't have a chance of heart about Joe Biden or Donald Trump when it came time to vote, nor whether they turned out to vote, nor how they perceived the legitimacy of the election. They were also less likely to believe misinformation about the election. A co-author of the study said another one of their findings was how little impact Facebook and Instagram seem to have on polarization and divisiveness. The study bills itself as the largest-scale evidence available to date on the effect of Facebook and Instagram access on political knowledge, attitudes, and behavior in a presidential election season. It was published Monday in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. In Ohio, Shelby County Democratic Party Chairman Chris Gibbs recently made headlines with his transition from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party leadership. In an exclusive interview, Gibbs sheds light on his decision and offers insights into his new role within the Democratic Party. Hamza Buja has the story.
Chris Gibbs, an Ohio farmer, left his role as local GOP chair and is now a part of the Democratic Party, and he explains his story on how he came to his decision.
In 2014, I stepped down as chair voluntarily because I was starting to feel that Tea Party movement that eventually moved into what we now know as the MAGA movement. And I specifically look at Steve King out of Iowa and others who were extremely hard on immigrants.
Chris Gibbs also explained what went wrong when he voted for Trump.
And got up to the 2016 election and begrudgingly voted for Donald Trump. And because I thought, you know what, there's nothing he can do that our institutions and our Congress couldn't fix. Well, Laura, what's the punchline? Boy, was I wrong. I never considered that Congress would fold like a cheap lawn chair. So they just folded. And what I found out about the Republican Party right then, that I had given 20 years of my most important possession beyond family, and that was my name, is that the ideals of diplomacy, statesmanship, personal responsibility, compassion for other people wasn't only a lie, it was a damn lie.
Folks may be wondering, how did this affect his relationship with his former Republican friends?
What I found out there is that those were simply friends of proximity, just they wanted to be in proximity of leadership. So that's the bad news. The good news, I saved a whole hell of a lot of money on Christmas cards, so no problem.
Thanks, Hamza. Ohio farmers say they're lucky to have Mr. Gibbs representing their interest in Washington. Now we turn to Allan Sampson for a look at this week's entertainment news.
Thanks, Diana. A new Planet of the Apes movie arrived in theaters this weekend. How did the cinematic simians fare do at the box office? Rick Demangela has the top 5 countdown.
Godzilla Kong: The New Empire dug in its massive heels to hold on to 5th place this weekend with $2.5 million. Taro stayed in 4th with $3.5 million, while Challengers maintained its 3rd place position with $4.7 million.
Why are you here?
I think there's been a misunderstanding.
Clearly.
Ryan Gosling's turn as the Fall Guy fell from 1st place to 2nd in its sophomore weekend in theaters. The action romance netted $13.7 million, bringing its domestic box office total to just under $50 million.
What a wonderful day!
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes won the box office throne in its opening weekend. The latest film in the Apes franchise ran off with $56.5 million in the U.S. Variety reports the movie made an additional $72.5 million internationally for a debut total of $129 million. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damagella.
Planet of the Apes looks like an awesome flick. I can't wait to go to the movie theaters, grab some popcorn, and check it out. NFL legend Tom Brady says he regrets part of his recent roast. The NFL Flicks was hosted by Kevin Hart and aired earlier this month. Presenters joked about a number of sensitive topics. But on the Pivot podcast, Brady says he didn't realize how jokes about his divorce from supermodel Gisele Bündchen would affect his family. He added that experience would help make him a better father in the future. That's all we have for this week's Look at Entertainment News. I'm Allan Sampson. Now back to you, Diana.
Thanks, Allan. In Bay Area news, protests over the war in Gaza escalated at the University of California, Santa Cruz on Wednesday. Pro-Palestine demonstrators took their protest to the streets, prompting police to shut down one of the main roads to the campus. The protests have continued for more than 2 weeks. Christian Balderas reports.
Pro-Palestinian protesters at UC Santa Cruz held a rally filled with art and music outside their encampment. But despite the lively demonstration, there was an undercurrent of anger and paranoia as multiple things converged. Today is the anniversary of the 1948 Nakba, or catastrophe, when thousands of people were displaced during the formation of Israel.
This is a day of mourning for all Palestinians in the diaspora, back home and in refugee camps.
It's also the last day of a strike authorization vote by the UAW labor union, comprised of 48,000 academic workers across the UC system.
Of our labor, this campus seeks to fund genocides while we barely make rent and are paid barbaric wages.
Meanwhile, the UC regents are meeting to discuss current investments and long-term funding amid calls for a divestment of Israeli companies. This all happening as the UC Santa Cruz encampment marks its 15th day.
We have no plans to pack up anytime soon.
Negotiations with the university fell apart last week.
It's just really, really frustrating.
Now private security the university hired to stand watch at night is being seen during the day.
Do you feel unsafe because they're here?
Of course. Like, who wants to be surveilled by people who have intense law enforcement training?
Student protesters say they have their own security, standing guard 24/7. They're anticipating violent clashes with police.
They say they won't go back to class unless the university divests from Israel. As of this taping, no agreement has been negotiated between UC Santa Cruz and the protesters. 3 months after a car sideshow bust in California, nearly 90 vehicles are still being held as evidence, leaving their owners out of luck. Not sure what a sideshow is? Madison Cavish shows us and tells us why the car owners can't get their vehicles back yet.
150 people detained in Stockton back in February. More than half of them won't get their cars back anytime soon.
Sometimes if you do the crime, you got to do the time.
These cars are evidence.
They're not controlled, they're not monitored. It's literally a group of kids that are putting together criminal activity.
I want to show you what almost 90 cars in evidence looks like. Let's take a walk.
Car after car after car lined up at the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office.
All of these vehicles will be here at the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office until the investigation is over.
We have sent 100 referrals to the district attorney, and we're waiting for an arraignment date for those cases.
The legal process and that many referrals takes time. It doesn't cost the owners of these cars a dime for the sheriff's storage, at least not yet.
There may be a request for restitution once we get through the legal process.
The county's no sideshow streak, 102 days long, could very well become the blueprint for other cities.
Hopefully we will be when these cases are over.
The sheriff's office says they've been contacted by law enforcement agencies in Los Angeles County, Philadelphia, and the United Kingdom to learn how they were so successful in their sideshow crackdown efforts. Speaking about cars and safe driving, KTCH reporter Allan Sampson is back with some more cool driver hacks for your vehicle in his continuing segment, The Professional Driver.
Drivers. When parking in reverse, what is the best way to judge the distance from the rear end of your vehicle to the curbside? Well, before we get into this driver hack, we asked some college students about their method in reverse parking.
Well, if I'm just being honest, I just hope and pray to God that I just don't hit anything, because Lord knows I cannot park to save my life.
I just keep going backwards till I hit something.
Well, I'm not a driver right now. I'm still learning. I'm still learning the DMV pamphlet. I actually have practiced driving before, but I'm not a good driver at all.
Usually, it depends the time of the day. If I have a shadow marker on the ground, usually I look in my side view mirrors and I look down. You can always have a shadow at the rear of your bumper.
Pretty cool answers there. Now let's get into our driver hack now. When reverse parking, pay attention to the middle of the front door handle. When it coincides with the curbside behind, apply your brake. Your distance is 30 centimeters from the curbside.
I didn't know that. Well, thanks for the knowledge. I know now.
That makes more sense. Probably gonna save me money on insurance.
I'll keep that in mind when I go do the test. They'll keep me going and better hack for it.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that. That's hecka cool. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell some of my friends about it.
Remember to drive safely and please be courteous. I am Allan Sampson reporting for Chabot TV.
Thanks, Allan. You can depend on the professional driver to always have you back with another driving hack. Next up, we go to Evan Neto with this week's top 5 list.
Hello, I'm Evan Neto, and I'm here to finally bring you all, dear viewers, my long-awaited ranking of the world's top 5 birds. Because here at Chabot News, we only cover the most important of topics. And no, I don't mean you've been waiting for this. I mean, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting all semester, ever since they duped me into covering the most visited travel destinations. So, without further ado, here we go. Number 5 is something of a cop-out because, you see, I kind of have to name it, but at the same time it isn't one of my top 5 favorite birds, not even close. I don't even like them. It is, of course, the rooster. Now, you're probably wondering why I have to name the rooster in my list. Like, there isn't a gun to my head, on camera, at least, and I'm not making any jokes of the unseemly sort. No, you're right, it's not for any of those reasons. It's because I'm Portuguese. And if you're Portuguese like me, especially from a family who comes from Portugal, or specifically the Azores, was like double especially, then you know that this damn bird just, it haunts your every step. I mean, every single Portuguese household has one. I mean, not an actual rooster, mind you, that'd be crazy, but like a little porcelain version of the one behind me. So, there it is, the rooster. Not one of my favorite birds, but on the list nonetheless. All right, it's time for number 4, and thankfully it's a bird I actually like, the finch. Unfortunately, while I do like finches, I don't actually know much about them. They're pretty birds, don't get me wrong, but, well, I can't identify them. Like, if I see a small brown bird kind of just hopping around, I'll just default and say, oh look, Anne Finch. Still, I like small brown birds that hop around, so I've added them to the list, under the possibly incorrect label of finch. It doesn't matter though, I mean, birds don't watch Chabot TV, I can say whatever I want. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this one, but my 3rd favorite bird is the ever illustrious pigeon. That's right, the pigeon, the rat of the sky, spreader of irritation and disease, and super funny. Seriously, try to keep a straight face while watching a pigeon. It's impossible. They're adorable and funny. I mean, how can you not laugh at them? Especially the morbidly obese ones. They look like little spheres. I don't know, maybe that's just me though. Maybe I'm like a lunatic who just gets off to cackling at birds. Anyways, we owe them this much. I mean, we domesticated them to carry messages and then just dropped them as soon as a better alternative came up. Though, let's be honest, who wants to risk catching bird flu just to like mail someone a 2-sentence note? In 2nd place is the hummingbird. And I don't actually have much to say about them. I mean, they're cool looking birds, but I know even less about them than I do about finches. I mean, just take a couple months ago, for example. I was completely just flabbergasted when I saw one of them land. Like, my brain blew up because don't ask me why I thought they just flew forever, because it sounds so stupid in retrospect. I mean, they've got to sleep, right? Their hearts won't stop if they stop moving. They're not fish, though I don't know if that's true. I don't know anything about fish. Anyways, lack of understanding about hummingbirds aside, I like hummingbirds because they're just hella flamboyant and they look really cool. And because they're fast. And here it is, the moment you've all been waiting for, perched on the edges of your seats and hyperventilating with excitement. 1st place. This is riveting stuff, isn't it? So without further ado, it isn't the Puteki, man, I don't know who the hell came up with that name. It's the canary. And it really shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, the canary is objectively the best bird in the world, by a long shot. I mean, look, now, that should be the end of things, but I acknowledge that some people aren't as well versed in bird knowledge as me. I mean, I know what wings are, what feathers are. I'm like the Steve Irwin of birds, all right? I even saw a hawk once. So, I'll keep going for you guys. For starters, I'm not talking about those orange synthetic canaries that you see at PetSmart. I'm talking about wild canaries, real canaries, Atlantic canaries, like those found in dwindling numbers. Macaronesia, that being Madeira, the Azores, and of course, the aptly named Canary Islands. While I am biased towards this quite Portuguese bird, this is still an objective ranking, trust me. I mean, just look at one, they're spectacular. And quite useful too, because back in the olden days of yore and yonder, they were sent into mines to detect gas leaks. If a canary died, then it was time to go. But I don't really like talking about dead canaries though, and to be honest, that's kind of taken me out of the list-making mood, so that's it. That's the end of my top 5. Once again, I'm Evan Neto. Now, back to you, Diana.
Thanks, Evan. In local news, a Hayward resident has been missing for over 3 weeks since leaving the hospital in late April. 25-year-old Dennis Cho was seen by witnesses leaving the San Leandro Hospital under his own power on April 24, 2024, and has since been declared missing. Cho's family says that he is not reachable by cell phone. and doesn't have any money. Chao was recently diagnosed with schizophrenia but is characterized as friendly and nonviolent. Chao was last seen on May 12 near the San Lorenzo County Park in King City, California. If you have any tips or information on Dennis' whereabouts, please contact his family at 510-314-3052. In addition to working with police, Dennis Chao's friends and family have been talking to social media to spread the word and ask for any tips or sightings of Dennis. Hayward City Hall and some non-essential services are going to be closed this upcoming Monday. In observance of Memorial Day, City Hall and several municipal services will be shut down on Monday, May 27th. Street sweeping and citation enforcement will be unavailable during the holiday. All Hayward Public Library branches' online services will still be available for permit applications. The Revenue Center online will be payments and phone services will be still available, as well as water service emergency. City Hall and all closed services will resume activity the following day, Tuesday, May 28th. Chabot College, in cooperation with other local organizations, held its annual suicide prevention walk on May 1st. We sent our reporter Evan Netta out on the campus to cover the event.
Chabot held its annual suicide prevention walk on May 1st. Students gathered to voice their support for preventing suicide, as well as stop by some of the many booths lining the football field, including one giving out free pizza. The event began with a walk around the football field, and then attendees were free to walk around and do as they please. One of the issues that the walk addressed was mental health among veterans. I spoke to someone from Chabot's Veterans Center about that topic.
We brought along Swords to Plowshares with us, and that's a nonprofit organization for veterans. A portion of their services is suicide prevention, mental health, and then next to them is the Department of Veteran Affairs, right, where they have a whole area dedicated to mental health and suicide prevention. They have a whole training and everything on it.
People from the Veterans Center weren't the only ones there to support that particular cause. Other organizations showed up as well.
I think examples like there are people here that are going to learn about veteran services and about the need of veterans to use their services. And then I found resources from the Hispanic community and from the South Asian community that are going to help us with outreach. So it's just getting everybody together and talking and communicating. It's a wonderful event. And my daughter died of suicide, and I have a lot of friends who are in the same club. And I really don't want it to happen to anybody else.
Other attendees also weighed in with their thoughts on the event.
This has been dope, suicide awareness, so, of course I love it, give students, let them know they're not alone, and just out here to support, you feel me?
It's very special to bring awareness about mental health. It's super important in this generation, and I think it's good that the community is opening up and talking about it because you don't know what someone's going through, and it's always good to know that you're not alone and there's help out there.
Suicide is the third most common cause of death for people aged 18 to 24. All in all, the event raised over $1,000 to combat suicide.
Thanks, Evan. If you miss the event, then not to worry. The Suicide Prevention Walk should happen again next year. The Black Business Expo was a day for Black-owned businesses to promote themselves and find community among other Black-owned businesses. My Sister's Keeper, a club here on campus, hosted the second annual Black Business Expo during Black History Month. Jasmine Bester has coverage from the event.
Welcome to the Black Business Expo, held in Building 700 at the Cesar Chavez Plaza. This event had a total of 16 businesses tabling. Let's hear what they had to say.
We closed our restaurant to be here because we felt it was that important to show up to Chabot College, to show up for the community.
Last year I had the opportunity to be a part of the Black Business Expo, and I enjoyed sharing my delicious treats with people and being able to really share my story with others. Yeah,
it's amazing. It's really a treat because I'm able to share my gifts
They give me this opportunity to be able to display what I have to offer.
I wanted to give them a taste of the island, so we had to make sure to show up ourselves and to serve them a taste of the islands with a smile.
These kind of venues and coming together in unity with my people, I think it is so important. Community is important, and I think these kind of events are so important to our community, and it just empowers us.
Members from the Chabot Concert Band even made a special guest appearance. I'm Jasmine Bester, now signing off.
Thanks, Jasmine. This was an excellent marketing tool. The Black Business Expo was truly a day to remember. The location of the old bookstore has been converted into the Gladiator Study Lounge. KCTH reporter Julian Salde-Tremires has the story.
Hey Gladiators, looking for a quiet place to study during finals? Well, you're in luck. The new Gladiator Resource Hub, located in Building 3800, is holding extended hours from Tuesday, May 14th through Thursday, May 16th. The Resource Hub will be open their regular hours, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and will reopen from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. There will be snacks and school supplies offered, as well as a coffee station free to all students and staff. The Resource Hub will also be open for the week of finals with shortened hours from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and will reopen for the summer semester on Monday, May 27th, and will resume their usual hours from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Good luck on your finals and have a great summer.
Thanks, Julian. The new study center hopes to be a place where all students will gather to relax, meet other students, and get their homework done. This semester marks the end of an era as Professor Scott Hildreth prepares for his retirement. Professor Hildreth has had a long and storied career here at Chabot College and will be dearly missed. Our reporter Allan Sampson interviewed Professor Hildreth at the Chabot College Planetarium.
After 35 years at Hayward Chabot College, Professor Scott Hildreth is retiring. During the 2024 spring semester, I've had the privilege to meet, hang out, and interview Mr. Hildreth.
If you look forward into the future, the exploratory future and the scientific future offers solutions to the current problems. And I'd love my students to actually leave the class feeling as though there's a reason for us to do this.
Some of his favorite quotes include, "You're spot on. A wee bit. When I started this project, I still had hair." I got to ask some of his colleagues how he has influenced their teaching ways.
Think from the perspective of the students, be more friendly with them, work with where they're coming from, because not each student is the same.
His level of compassion and commitment to teaching, and I only hope that I can have that level of commitment.
And so it hasn't influenced, in my teaching, but more definitely my leadership style on campus.
Scott also expressed some of his memorable moments.
One of them, absolutely, as a memory that I'm going to treasure forever, was the chance to work with NASA on the SOFIA, the Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy. It's not because I got a chance to go on the plane and do the missions. That was fantastic as a scientist. It was more as a reflection of Chabot.
His colleagues got to share some memorable moments as well.
A couple hours before the event, and he was just ready to help.
I got to see him when the Webb Space Center telescope thing went up, and he was so excited, and just to see him engage with the public in that way.
Why is it that the pictures are like all of these colors and then what I just see is green? And he was explaining to me what the properties in vision versus the refractions in the cameras and the time, and I understood none of it.
Professor Scott Hildreth had some heartfelt final words to say.
Aim for the stars. There's that wonderful saying that, you aim for the stars, and if you don't make it, at least you make it to the moon.
He will definitely be missed, remembered, and not forgotten. I am Allan Sampson reporting for Chabot TV.
Thanks, Allan. Happy retirement, Professor Hildreth, and much happiness on your permanent vacation. Now it's time to take a look at sports news with our sportscaster Christian Gonzalez.
Thanks, Diana. It didn't take long for three-time WNBA champion Candace Parker to find her second act. A little more than a week after the MVP announced her retirement from basketball, she got a job at Adidas. Parker will be the president of Adidas women's basketball. It's a natural fit for the athlete, who has had a 16-year partnership with the brand. In her new role, Parker will oversee the company's women's basketball product lines. Part of her job will also include identifying players to partner with. Tom Brady will make his NFL regular season broadcasting debut for the Week 1 matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns. Brady will serve as Fox's lead analyst to kick off a deal that pays him a reported $375 million over the next 10 years. His debut game is Sunday, September 8th. The 7-time Super Bowl champ, who played for the New England Patriots and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, retired for a second time after the 2021 season. He stated his intention to step into broadcasting 2 years ago. And in Chabot College sports news, the Chabot College football field is due for a renovation soon. Our reporter Greg Driscoll took a close look at the field's current press box.
We are inside what is said to be a historic landmark at Chabot College. As far as the Chabot College football and track stadium is all concerned, we are here inside that building that's been up for over 60 years and is due for renovation soon.
This stadium was built in the early 1960s when the college was founded, moved from the temporary campus in San Leandro to the current site here in Hayward. It has housed track and field and football games since that time. It is probably one of the most used facilities in our athletic complex.
Over here in room number 1, we have just areas of just the dirtiness and the use and the rains and the leakage of all the waters. It's basically needed for a revamp of what Mr. Druin said to be a multi-million dollar revamp.
The stadium's going to be, it's under design right now, and then we'll go into construction in early 2025, late 2024. This is all going to go away. Everything you can see out through the press box is going to be renovated and replaced.
This old beat down football facility that's due for a remake, and that's coming soon. They're probably going to end up making it just top of the line, state of the art facility to where people can come and enjoy themselves and not worry about bugs and spiders and anything like that crawling on them and having it think they're going to fall over on them when an earthquake happens. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Greg. We look forward to the new field and its improvements. Staying on track, theme here for the final Chabot sports story this week. Chabot's track and field held the Budner Invitational, where 12 colleges came to compete. We sent our reporter Greg Driscoll to take a closer look at the track meet.
Hey, this is Greg Driscoll coming to you from the Chabot College at the Gladiators track, where we're expecting a possible big track turnout to have all these different colleges compete and see what they're going to do.
Been good so far. We have another group of folks competing down at Cal State Long Beach, about four or five sprinters down there. And then this is a really good opportunity today for our team, along with other teams, to kind of get some last chance marks before we head into the posting.
I have not looked at the field out there and whether we're going to see any really big jumps or throws or pole vaults or anything like that. But I love to see the kids compete, and whenever they do it and do it well, I'm happy.
I'm looking forward to all events because I'm a decathlete.
Okay.
But today I got long shot, discus, and triple. I haven't triple jumped since like last year, so I'm looking to come out and maybe hit a PB there. Hopefully, yeah, we got a nice little jump squad. Just looking to hopefully sweep. If not, at least have some of us in the top 5.
Rain would stop. It would be good. The wind dies down. That'd be perfect. We have actually really good competition here today. And so, yeah, if they can just get in and compete and do well and just that's the big thing.
I'm right now throwing shot put and disc as my track and field athlete. And my record today as of this tournament is I am planning to throw, right now my personal record right now in disc is 25. centimeters, but I'm trying to hit 26 today.
Thanks, Greg. Chabot's very own track and field coach, Kyle Robinson, was pleased that 2 Chabot athletes broke junior college records. Let's go all out, participate, and contribute to make next season another success. That's all for this week in sports. I'm Christian Gonzalez. Now, back to you, Diana.
Thanks, Christian. After a legal battle, an Indiana judge who agreed that tacos and burritos are Mexican-style sandwiches gives a green light for new restaurant to open. Martin Quintana has been trying for approximately 3 years to open his second location of the famous taco in Fort Wayne, Indiana. But the initial written commitment for the development at a Plaza Quintana owns limits the business to a sandwich bar-style restaurant whose primary business is to sell made-to-order or Subway-style sandwiches. Quintana said the nearby Covington Greek Association contacted him to say that his famous taco proposal somehow ran afoul to the commitment. He sued the Fort Wayne Planning Commission in December 2022 after it denied his proposed amendment that would specifically allow his restaurant to offer made-to-order tacos, burritos, and other Mexican-style food items. Superior Court Judge Craig Bobet ruled that the Planning Commission acted correctly when it denied Quintana's proposed amendment. But the judge also found that his request was not needed, and he found that the original commitment allows restaurants like the proposed the famous taco. The court agrees with Quintana that tacos and burritos are Mexican-style sandwiches, and the original written commitment does not restrict potential restaurants to only American cuisine-style sandwiches, Bobet wrote. Quintana said Thursday he's relieved the legal fight is over, and he's looking forward to opening his second, the famous taco restaurant in Fort Wayne. Quintana said his new family owns the famous taco restaurant should open in 2 or 3 months. He said that, like his other the famous taco locations that opened nearly 7 years ago, customers will be able to choose their favorite toppings for tacos, burritos, or tortas, assembled by the staff. And for our final stories this week, the Shannon Arts Performance Theatre recently hired their first deaf actor. Michael Kreisig Wicks booked the feature role as a prince in the production of My Fair Lady. Shelby Martin has a story.
Michael Krisowitz has a featured role, playing the prince in the Shannon Arts production of My Fair Lady. He's also completely deaf.
I feel like in the beginning it was hard, but now the play this weekend, I'm ready. I feel good. I just want to get going.
Krisowitz stars alongside his wife Sierra and his 11-year-old son Elijah. The actor says he hasn't done a production since he was 13, but that didn't stop him from joining his family on stage.
When I saw on Facebook that they had auditions for My Fair Lady, I thought, well, let me let my son know about the play. And I wasn't sure it might be risky to be a stage play, but I wanted to do it for my son so that he can have that experience too.
Elijah says his father inspires him and taught him everything he knows about acting. The 6th grader hopes to be a screen actor one day.
It kind of taught me to know that I could do anything. If he could do it, being deaf and being on a stage, if I think I can't do that, that's crazy, because if he can, then anybody can.
And if you ask Sierra, chances are she'll tell you something similar.
I'm super proud of him. I think it's so cool how, ambitious he is. He knows that he could do anything, and I love that about him. He inspires me a lot.
Being deaf does provide some challenges, especially when learning to dance to music.
I can't feel the music through the floor. I'm completely deaf. So if I can do this and memorize the parts with a pattern, if I can do it, then you can too.
And Krisowitz's castmates are in awe of his dancing abilities.
It's not fair. The man can't hear the music, and yet his rhythm is impeccable, and he remembers all of the steps, sometimes a lot better than we do.
The family says performing has brought them closer together.
Thanks, Shelby. This is great representation for the deaf community and will lead to more opportunities for other deaf actors in the future. That's all for this Chabot News this semester. We'll be back in the fall. Thanks to all the students and staff in the Mass Communications Department here at Chabot College for making this production possible. You can watch us anytime online at youtube.com/ChabotTV. Stay tuned to KCTA Channel 27 on Comcast for more Chabot TV.
Watch Chabot TV on Fire TV, Roku, and Fire TV Plus using the Cablecast ScreenWeave app. Tune in on Comcast channels 27 and 28 or channel 99 on AT&T UVerse for convenient viewing. Your entertainment simplified.